Hey lovelies, I am super excited for today's video because we're doing a good old full face of some of my absolute favorite makeup related products. We're going to do just like a simple glam, nothing too crazy, but definitely like enough to just make you feel your absolute best. And I'm also partnering with NIKKIA Joy Cosmetics on today's video, so that's really exciting. You guys know I absolutely love the Velvet Finishing Powder. It is the best loose setting powder on the market, and I'm also going to be showing you their Pro Perfecting Sponge and some of their false lashes. So without further ado, let's get stuck in to getting all glam. So first up, a primer. Now I don't often mix it up a crazy amount with my primers, and I'm sort of getting back into an old favorite, and that is the Benefit POREFESSIONAL Matte Rescue Primer. So I really love this because it's more of a mattifying primer without being too crazily matte, but it still has pore blurring properties. It's like a gel formulation as well, which I really like, and when you've got more sort of combination oily skin, I just feel like gel formulas are where it's at. Like when it comes to your moisturizer, your primers, like everything. So when it comes to foundations, I do kind of like a bit of a variety in my finishes. I don't mind a good old soft matte, nothing crazy ultra matte, but soft matte I'm totally here for, especially if I know I've got to wear my makeup for like 8+ hours. But I also like more long wear hydrating formulas such as Fenty's. So I'm using this in shade 190. So as you can see, my face is quite a lot fairer compared to my body because I do have fake tan on my body, so I'm going to match my foundation to the fake tan. So when it comes to applying your foundation, one of the best tools you could possibly use is the NIKKIA Joy Cosmetics Pro Perfecting Sponge. So this sponge is like no other. The design, the make of it, it is incredible. So this is one of the softest makeup sponges you're ever going to feel. It's like a traditional teardrop shape, but as you can see, it has this flat edge, so it's amazing to apply anything. Anything cream related, this is going to be incredible for. And it has micro pore design, which means it's going to stop like excessive, unnecessary soaking up of your products. There's nothing worse than having to use 5 pumps of foundation, but literally you've probably got 1 pump on your face. You don't have that problem with this sponge. It literally airbrushes your foundations. Like, it's crazy. So using this sponge in combined with like the Velvet Finishing Powder, like your skin just looks like butter. And when you dampen the sponge, it actually swells to about 3 times the size. So as you can see, we have a dry sponge here versus a wet sponge. So it does get quite a bit larger, but it is incredibly soft and squishy. So if you find you need to pinch it to manipulate it to fit in certain areas, it's incredibly easy to do. So I'm dispensing the foundation directly onto the sponge just so you can see how it sits on the surface of the sponge. It doesn't actually soak into the sponge. And those 2 pumps straight on the sponge does my entire face. Like, look how beautiful and smooth the texture is of my skin. Although I have a few little bumps and spots, they're very smooth, they're very soft focus. Like, the combination of this sponge with that foundation is beautiful. And guys, when I go in with the Velvet Finishing Setting Powder, you're going to be shook. It's going to be even more airbrushed and flawless. So for concealer, we're using my Old Faithful, and it's the Tarte Shape Tape. So this just by far has the best coverage for me when it comes to the darkness of my under eye circles. I do get quite like pigmented purplish discoloration on the very inner corners in the tear troughs here, and I find that a lot of concealers really struggle at covering it up, but Tarte Shape Tape, it just never lets me down. I'm using the shade 22N Light Neutral, and I'm just going to pop it directly like in my tear troughs. And I'm going to put a little bit on my chin just to sort of highlight that part of my face as well, just because I like to keep like the brightness in the center of my face. And of course, we're going to use the Pro Perfecting Sponge to blend it all out. So now we've got our foundation and concealer on, it's time to set it all in place. And this is where the real life filter comes into play. And we achieve that by using the NIKKIA Joy Cosmetics Velvet Finishing Powder. This right here is the best loose setting powder on the market. It literally does every single thing it claims to do. It's an incredibly fine triple milled powder, and it's translucent in color. It has a really beautiful like subtle vanilla scent, which isn't from artificial fragrances. It's cruelty free, it's vegan, it's everything you could think of. So this literally smooths all your pores. So this is going to set your makeup and lock it in place, and it's going to look flawless for up to 16 hours. It's literally like the most incredible powder formulation. You can use it to bake, you can use it to dust all over your face, you can actually pop it on just bare skin to help control shine. You can use it before foundation to actually help really like cement in your makeup. You can use it over the top. It's the best. Like I don't know how much more I can like describe it other than it is literally the best loose powder on the market in my opinion. So I just like to gently pat the powder into my skin because I find that's what gives me like the most flawless airbrushed looking skin. I really hope my camera can capture it. So this is the side that has the velvet finishing powder applied, and then this is the side that doesn't. Alright, so as you guys can see, my skin is all set in place. It literally, the name of the powder is perfect because my skin looks like velvet. It looks very soft, it feels soft to the touch, and it's all nice and set in place. And so now we're going to go ahead and add some color and dimension and warmth back into the skin, and we're going to do that using the Fenty bronzer. I absolutely love this bronzer. It is such a beautiful formulation, and I use the shade Shady Beers. It's like the perfect color. It's not too dark, not too light. It blends beautifully. I love it. Fenty killing it big time. So I just like to apply my bronzer around my cheekbones, around my hairline, and also under my chin. Now when it comes to blush, I haven't actually purchased any new blushes in a really long time, and I'm sorry, but I'm about to show a limited edition blush that isn't available anymore, but at least you can get an idea of the color. I really like corally, subtly peachy tone blushes, and this is actually from the MAC and Mariah Carey collaboration from a few years ago called Sweet Sweet Fantasy. It's honestly one of the most beautiful blush shades in the entire world. And I like to just pop it on the apples of my cheeks and then blend it back into my bronzer. Now when it comes to highlighter, you guys know my favorite from the second it launched has been the Anastasia and Amrezy highlight. Yet again, this is another limited edition product. If it'll focus on it, there we go. So this is a limited edition product as well. They have restocked it a few times. However, I do have a dupe that I only recently realized was a dupe because I was using the Illuminate Luxury Highlighting Palette from NIKKIA Joy Cosmetics as well, and they have a color that is incredibly similar, and it's called Glimmer, which is this color right here in the palette. Okay, so here are the two shades. So this is the Anastasia and Amrezy highlight, and this is the Glimmer highlight from the NIKKIA Joy palette. Let me just swatch them so you guys can see them side by side swatched. Incredibly similar, am I right? Like down to formulation, color, and all. So really great palette if you're a makeup artist, if you're just like a makeup enthusiast and you love mixing things up. It's nice to have the different options, in my opinion. Are you ready for the glow? Are you ready for it? Ooh, child. Ooh. Hello highlight. Like the most beautiful formula. Are you kidding? So next up we are moving on to eyebrows, and this is the Mellow Cosmetics Brow Definer. And I believe, what shade is it? It's in the shade Taupe. So this is like one of my absolute favorite eyebrow pencils, mainly because of the color. I would rather if it was like a really nice tiny little ball point, but it is instead like more of like a blade shape, but that still works. And I just think this is the most perfect color for my particular hair tone. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill my brows in. Okay, so my eyebrows are on. Look, that's the best we're going to get without me spending spending like an hour on them. So we're going to move on to eyeshadow. Now my absolute favorite eyeshadow palettes come from BPERFECT Cosmetics. Their Carnival Extra Large Pro palette, which is a collaboration with Stacey Marie, who is a makeup artist, is by far my absolute favorite. Like, it is just literally every single shade you could ever possibly want in an eyeshadow palette. Now, although this is my #1 must-have palette, I'm actually not going to use it today, but I am going to use BPERFECT eyeshadows. So I just want to do some like brown smoky eye type of look, and I've already done one with that particular palette. There's only so many brown smoky eyes you can do with the one palette, but I'm going to use the collaboration palette from BPERFECT Cosmetics with Jar, who is another makeup artist who is incredible and such a beautiful person as well. So I'm going to use this palette today. I already know I love the BPERFECT shadow formulation, so it's not, although I haven't used this palette before, I know the formulation, and the formulation is like 10 out of 10 amazing. I'm going to start off with this shade called Blush. I'm going to run that through my crease, and I think I will use this shade here, which is called Brown, and then I will probably use Pink Rosé all over my lid. So kind of like these colors here. So let's get stuck into it. And I like to just pat the color down first, and then I go ahead and start blending it out. And I'm just going to take that same color down along my lash line. And now we're going to go in with that brown shade and just start on like the outer corners. If you're a makeup artist who does like lots of bridal and formal looks, this palette is divine. All right, we're gonna pop that lid shade on. That is so pretty, oh my gosh. Now, instead of doing liquid liner, I've been into doing a black shadow along my lash line. I just feel like it's a little bit softer, it's a little bit easier to achieve. And although I love the shadows in the BPERFECT Cosmetics palettes, Huda Beauty's Rose Gold palette, the black in this palette is the blackest black I've ever owned. Like, nothing compares to the depth of pigment when it comes to a black shadow than this black in this palette. And honestly, I don't reach for this palette a whole heap. It is so beautiful. I don't know why. I should probably use it more actually. But the black itself is like a must-have color for me. And I just start off by like stamping the color as close to my lash line as possible. So now we're ready to move on to falsies. Now, NIKKIA Jouer Cosmetics has like the best range of lashes available. They literally have something for every single taste and type and style and eye shape. And I love the natural range. So I've got the natural 2.0 set, which is this one here. And then I also have just the original natural set. Now, these styles are perfect for those of you who have sensitive eyes like me and have more petite sized eyes. Personally, I have a genetic eye disease, so I just like to keep it a little bit more natural, and with the thinner lash bands, I just find them the most comfortable. So these are faux mink lashes, and they're made with a super soft synthetic lash fiber. So these are hand tied and cross woven to give you like the most beautiful natural looking volume. They've got really flexible bands as well, so they're just super comfy to wear. They're also reusable. I personally get at least 10 wears out of each set of my lashes, and they're cruelty free as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use this bottom style lash. I do need to trim it to fit my eye shape just because I have quite tiny little eyes. So what I do is I just pop them on my tweezers before I put glue on them, and I simply measure it up to my actual lash line. And I sort of start from like where my natural lashes begin and finish, and then I will chop just a little bit off to start with, just to make sure I don't cut them too short, because look, you can cut more off, but if you cut too much off, you can't add them back. So we're better off to just start with a little chop, and if we have to take more off, then we have to take more off, and that's okay. So I just took 2 little nodules off it, and I think that's nearly perfect. I reckon 1 more nodule and we're good to go. Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm going to use Huda Beauty's Clear Lash Glue. This stuff is super sticky, but it's going to hold your lashes in place all day long. So I really like to come down from like the top of my lashes, and I like to put my mascara on after I've got my falsies on as well. I find if I have mascara on already, my natural lashes get in the way too much. So that's why I do mascara second. Oh, they look so nice. Okay, so there they are, both on. So I'm going to use the Maybelline Falsies Lash Lift Mascara. This is my current favorite. It's such a good mascara and so affordable, so you can't really go wrong with it. So I'm going to use probably my most used nude lipstick, and that is MAC Blankety. It is like the most perfect nude color, and I'll top it off with a NARS gloss called At First Sight. Alright lovelies, so this is the finished look. I am obsessed with how it turned out. My skin is just looking, I mean, the best it could possibly look. And I just love all of these products that have been mentioned in today's video. If you would like a list of what I used, it will all be in the description box for you guys, as well as brushes. And I also have a discount code for NIKKIA Joy Cosmetics. So it is just Hannah, and that's going to take 15% off your orders. So I'll leave that listed in the description box, as well as a link as well. So definitely check out NIKKIA Joy Cosmetics if you haven't yet. As always, thank you so very much for watching. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Leave me some comments below about your favorite makeup products, and I'll be talking to you guys in the comments and in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.